Another successful turn. We're ready to move on to our commander, and we'll have to deal with Toxin, retiring Snapshot, and Roughhouse. Draw a new event. Oh no! It's our third Venom Strikes. So that's going to advance the event track by 1. Moving us to event number 3. So now Venom has activated the blue control cube. So if we find that one, its special abilities are of no use to us either. Now we can go into the recruitment phase. And we have a recruit for 2, a commando for 1, gives us 3. Uplink gives us 2 more for 5. Drop zone gives us 1 for 6. And unfortunately Sledge gives us nothing. And in an attempt to make my hand a little bit better, I'm going to use Uplink's support ability to discard cards and draw that many +1. I'm not going to use Drop Zone here, so I'll discard him this time, along with this Commando and Recruit, and that'll allow me to draw 4 cards now, because I discarded 3. We're going to get another Recruit, and perfect. We got Blind Sight. Great leader. And we got Striker, and one more, another Commando. That worked out really well. Let's add up our points again. Again, Sledge gives us 0. Commando gives us 1. Striker, 1 more for 2. Blind Sight, 1 for 3. The Recruit gives us 2 for 5. And Uplink, 2 for 7. We have enough for Spectre and Hardcore. I want both of those cards. I'm going to take Hardcore this time. Actually, now, let's take Spectre for 7 in case we have a low total. We only have 6 to spend. We have 7 to spend, so we'll take Spectre and put him in our discard pile. Decide which Venom leader we want to attack. I choose to go after Sabotage here. She's going to have 3 health and 3 defense and 5 support, but she discards any support that are not vehicles. And she would cause me to discard 1 random support vehicle of my choice. I don't have any right now, so this is a good time to go after her. We'll set her initial markers at 3 health and 3 defense. We're going to choose Blind Sight as our combat leader and have him get support from the Commando and the Recruit. Also, Sledge will provide support with his ability to add +1 to the rolled value of all combat dice. Striker and Uplink don't have any abilities that are going to help us. Blind Sight, being a magnificent leader, is going to get 6 dice and 1 each for the Commando and the Recruit, giving us a total of 8. Sabotage will get 5 support cards, but remember, here in the tactical phase, she's going to discard all support cards that are not vehicles. First one is a soldier, so she will discard that one. Second, another soldier, constrictors, discard. Third, another soldier, this is going well, pythons, discard. Fourth, another soldier, the Shadow Fangs, discard. And last is another set of Shadow Fangs. She will discard all 5 of her support. That was a really lucky draw for us. She has no support. She is still at 3 health and 3 defense. We get to roll 8 combat dice, and thanks to Sledge's ability in the combat phase, we add +1 to the rolled value of all combat dice. Sabotage has 3 health and 3 defense. This 2 becomes a 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, that's a 7, that's a 7, a 5, a 5, a 3. With a defense of 3, actually every dice connected. That is 8 successes when we only needed 3. Sabotage was wiped out. That was a highly successful mission. Sabotage will go to our victory point pile. Go after the Venom underwater station. It's not a cube, It's the Venom schematics. Caliber reviews Venom's vehicle logs in their motor pool to seek out weaknesses in their armor, and discovers very positive results. Once per game, use this card to discard up to 2 Venom support vehicles before their abilities take effect. There's no Venom support to discard. We'll refill the underwater station with a reward, and the next leader we'll have to deal with is Hex. 4 health, 2 defense, 2 support. In the combat phase, reveal the top card of your draw deck. If the revealed card has a combat strength greater than 0, re-roll that many successes and retire the revealed card. Otherwise, discard it. Refill the training ground. We have an empty space. And we have Caliber. Cost 6, 1 recruit point, 1 strength. You may gain the benefit of any abilities twice from a Freedom Squardon vehicle in play in the appropriate phase. Discard my hand. Draw 5 new ones. And we have a recruit, the Hornet, the Scorpion, a recruit, and then we got Tundra. That's unfortunate, because Tundra would have to be the leader. Recruits cannot be leaders and vehicles cannot, which means we wouldn't be able to use these abilities there. Our commander had a great turn, ready to turn it over to the other player. We'll skip the event phase, go right into recruitment. We have a commando that will give us 1 point. Sundown gives us 1 for 2. Selkie is 0. Corporal Carnage, 2 more for 4. And General Steel gives us 3 for a total of 7. With 7 points, it's between Caliber and Hardcore. I think Caliber would go better with the other deck because I know I have a couple of vehicles there. So I'll take Hardcore, but he's not going to go to my discard pile because I'm going to use Sundown's recruitment phase ability that says all cards purchased this turn may be placed on top of your draw deck instead of your discard pile, which will ensure that I get Hardcore right away in my next draw. And it would be smart to attack an air zone because of Sundown's ability in the tactical phase. After the Venom leader is chosen, place the top 2 cards from your draw deck into play. Well, we know what the top one is already. The 2 air zones have Kamikaze and Toxin. I don't want to go after Toxin yet. Early on I thought I wanted to take Toxin out quickly, but the effect at the bottom of Toxin's card says that after we defeat Toxin, if there's any remaining cards in the reward deck, then Toxin gets shuffled back into the Venom leader deck, and we don't want that happening. So we're going to go after Kamikaze, who begins with 2 health and 2 defense, and we'll get 3 support. We'll set Kamikaze's initial health and defense at 2 and 2. Now that a Venom leader has been chosen, we can place the top 2 cards from my draw deck into play, which will give us Hardcore and a recruit. I'm going to use General Steel as my combat leader with support from Hardcore, choosing his tactical phase ability to add 2 combat strength to the attack. Corporal Carnage will come into play. We'll add 2 to the rolled value of all combat dice. Selkie, during the combat phase I can look at the top card of my draw deck, which I'd have to create a new one, and then I can add the combat strength value to one of my combat die. And we have a recruit and a commando taking part, and Sundown is already providing support. And that's going to make General Steel very powerful because these are all soldiers and his strength is equal to the number of Freedom Squardon soldiers in combat, including himself, which there are 7. General Steel will get 7 dice. Hardcore will get 2. The recruit and the commando will also get 1. So we're starting with 11 dice. Now we will draw 3 support for Kamikaze, and if any soul flayers come up, he gets double their ability. And I spoke way too soon. Soul Flare. Discard 1 Freedom support. Vehicle. I have no vehicles. Perfect. Next, he has Wasps, Tactical phase, +1 defense, and this will take effect if there's more wasps. And his last support is another soul flare, which would have been extremely devastating if we had any support vehicles, because we would have had to get rid of 4 of them, but no problem. Venom support is really only going to give him 1 additional defense, since the soul flares don't do anything in this case because I have no vehicles. We need 2 successes to defeat Kamikaze, and he has 3 defense, but he is going to make us re-roll all successes once. I believe this is an automatic win because Corporal Carnage is going to add 2 to the roll value of all combat dice, which means 1s will become a 3 at minimum, and we only need a 3 to be successful. Well, let's roll it anyway. These 2s would have become 4s, which would make them successes, meaning we'd have to re-roll all of them due to Kamikaze's effect of re-rolling all successes once. And without having to turn all the dice again, when we even have a couple of 8s here after we add everything up, this is definitely a win. We're definitely rolling along good now. Kamikaze will go into that player's victory point pile, and we will get, we got a control cube. The blue control cube. This strange pulsing blue cube was unearthed by Venom agents in the tomb of an undocumented pharaoh. How it has the ability to disrupt energy is unknown. And again, Event 3 disabled the blue control cube as far as giving this ability to us, leaving only the green cube out there. So it's a race to find it. We will discard Venom support, refill the Venom Sky Temple with our last reward card, and it will be protected by Mayhem. 3 health, 4 defense, 2 support. Tactical phase, roll 1 die to compare the results. 1 and 2, nothing occurs. 3 and 4, 1 random Freedom Support Soldier converts sides. 5 or 6, 2 random Freedom Support Soldiers convert sides. Converted soldiers no longer count as supporting, and subtract combat strength from the combat leader equal to any combat strength given by those cards supporting abilities. Whew, that is mayhem. Now that our reward deck is empty, we can go after Toxin soon. Refill the training ground. It's the Peacemaker. 10 to recruit, or 0 and 0, before the recruitment phase. Before using any other abilities or playing any cards, discard your entire hand and end your turn, skipping the end of turn phase. End of turn phase, draw 5 additional cards. Ooh, that's an interesting one. You can get a hand of 10. That may be useful when you know the last thing you have to do. For example, if we gain the green control cube and then the last thing we have to do is liberate Venom Island, then we can just go crazy and go after Strato there. Or we could liberate Venom Island now in the hopes that the green control cube is under there, and then that would be a victory right away because we'd have the final cube and Venom Island would be empty because there would be nothing left to refill it. So I think Strato will be our next target. Discard this massive hand. I'm gonna have to shuffle a couple more mixes. Make sure it's nice and random. Draw 5. And we're going to get Clean Sweep, a Commando, Bulkhead and Rivet, the Sawfish, and a Recruit. We're making good progress. The event track is on 3, but we have managed to empty the Venom leader deck. We do have 3 of the 4 control cubes, so we need to find that last cube and liberate Venom Island in order to win the game. This player's turn is done. We're coming back to our commander now. We're back with the commander, which means Toxin will retire one of our other peacemakers and another copy of Blind Sight. Let's see what the event deck has in store for us. Hell, it's not a Venom Strikes. Questions of Leadership. Gorgon usurps control of Venom and locks Venom Commander away. He drives the organization to be even more ruthless in their tactics and expends great resources to further his own causes. Place one Venom support card face down by each Venom leader in play. This support card will be used in addition to any other Venom support cards the leader draws during their next combat. Not a big fan of Gorgon there taking over. So I'm going to draw from the support deck, and we'll start here and go in a zigzag pattern adding them. Each Venom leader now has an additional support card, and just when I thought things were getting better for us and we were getting stronger, Gorgon comes in and ratchets up the difficulty, which means we need to do some recruiting if we're going to take on these extra enemies now. We have 2 recruits, that'll give us 4. The Scorpion is 3 for 7, Hornet 1 for 8, and Tundra 0. I will use my 8 points to purchase Caliber since I have a couple of vehicles in my deck. Let's go after Strato so we can liberate Venom Island hopefully. He starts with 3 health and 3 defense, and he's going to get 4 support. During the tactical phase, he's going to retire the top card from the recruitment deck. He starts out with 3 and 3. Strato forces retirement of the top card, which was Powder Keg. I'm going to allow myself to back up here and say I used this in the recruitment phase, which I meant to do. Once per game, use this card to place any one Freedom Squadron soldier from your discard pile into play. And in my discard pile, I have Blind Sight, who I will now put into play. That would not have given me enough extra points to recruit anybody else, but I want to use them for the upcoming attack. And then we would have went into the tactical phase where I chose the leader, adjusted the health, applied the effect of the discard or the retirement caused by Strato, and now I'll choose my combat leader, which would be Blind Sight, of course, supported by the Scorpion, 2 recruits, and Tundra. The Hornet doesn't give us anything unless we're in an air zone, and Venom Island is land. Blind Sight will get 6 dice, the Scorpion will get 2, and each recruit gets 1. We have a lot of dice, but Strato gets 4 support. He's going to get a C star, tactical phase, +1 defense. We're not in a C zone. Some Pythons, +1 health. Some Venom Scourges. They're going to lower the leader by 1, and then I'm going to have to retire 1 soldier of my choice during the retirement phase. And finally, it's going to get the Venom Glider. Ouch. Lower the combat leader by 2. Whew. Here we would apply any freedom support abilities that take effect during the tactical phase, and Tundra will lower the Venom leader's health by 1, taking it down to 2. But now we have to apply our Venom support, starting with the C star. It's going to add 1 to the defense. Next we have the Pythons that are going to add 1 back to the health. The Venom Scourges will lower the combat leader's ability by 1, and the Venom Gliders will lower the combat leader's ability by 2. So Blind Sight is going to lose half of his dice, still leaving us with 7. We have 7 dice to roll. We need 3 successes, and for Strato, a success with his defense is 4, so we need 4 or higher. Ooh, let's see, we got a 4, a 5, a 4, 1, 2, 2, 3. Ooh, we just made it. So close. We needed 3, and we got 3. And I totally forgot to apply Strato's support. The Night Stars. Reroll 1 success. Well, luckily it wasn't something that I would have had to start all over again. We only had 3 successes, so it does make a difference. So let's re-roll one of those successes. We still need at least a 4. Nice. Whew. So we get to take Strato for victory points. And if this is the final control cube, we win the game. No. Venom personnel files. A list of criminals now under the command of Venom is discovered, allowing Freedom Squardon to track down Venom flunkies and keep them off the streets and away from helping Venom's cause. Tactical phase. Once per game, use this card to discard up to 2 Venom support soldiers before their abilities take effect. And that will be useful because that same player has the schematic, which allows them to discard up to 2 Venom support vehicles. Venom Island is liberated. We'll discard all this Venom support. We will not refill the empty zone because there are no leaders or reward cards left. We'll add one to the training ground. And it's going to be Sledge again. Discard my cards. Draw my deck. I only have one there. Give it another mix up. And we will get Hollow Point, Recruit, Spectre, the Hornet, and Caliber. We're working our way through these leaders. Venom Island is liberated, so that victory condition is met. Now we have to find that last cube in here before our event track comes all the way up and we run out of turns. The commander is done. We're ready to move over to player 2. We go right past the event phase into the recruitment phase. We have a commando and a recruit giving us 1 and 2 for 3. The sawfish gives us 3 for 6. Bulkhead and rivet 1 for 7, and clean sweep gives us 2 more for 9. Our choices are limited here because I really don't think I need to go for either one of the buildings at this point, since we're down to just 6 locations left, and if we find the control cube we win. The Peacemaker is out of reach as far as points go, so we have Nightshade and Sledge. Sledge has +1 to the rolled value of all combat dice and is a decent leader. Nightshade, she's the one where we cut the dice in half, but then we can add 3 to the value of the combat dice that still remain. I think at this point I'm going to go ahead and go for Sledge for 5. Add him to my discard pile. I will choose to go after Gorgon in the C zone because I have 2 cards that benefit from the C zone. Gorgon will start with 2 health and 4 defense and gain 2 support. Starts out at 2 and 4. I will have the commando be the combat leader for this attack. Have him supported by the recruit and the sawfish, which will give me 2 because of the C zone. I will have bulkhead and rivet support, and because of the C zone, we can add +2 to the rerolled value of 1 combat die. And finally, also in support during this combat will be clean sweep. And during the tactical phase, for every Freedom Squardon soldier in play with a strength of 2 or higher, increase your combat leader's strength by 1. In this case, we have 1, 2, 3, so our commando will be a +3 in addition to his normal combat value. So in place of getting just 2 dice, he's going to get 3 additional for a total of 5. 1 die for the recruit, and thanks to the C zone, we have 2 for the sawfish. Now we'll draw Gorgon's support, remembering that any wasps that support him have double their abilities. And we have a vehicle, the Hydra. Lower the combat leader's strength by 1. Not too awful. And his other support is another vehicle. Oh no, it's the Venom Glider. Lower the combat leader's strength by 2. Wow, so those 3 we gained go away. And we also have this 3rd Venom support card for Gorgon. And we have Another vehicle, the Komodo. +2 to defense. That is awful. That Komodo turned this into a very, very difficult mission to defeat Gorgon. The Hydra and Venom glider will lower our combat leader's strength by 3, and the Komodo is going to raise Gorgon's defense by 2, all the way up to 6. Even though we only need 2 successes, they have to be 6s or higher. We will lose 1 to the Hydra, 2 to the Venom glider, leaving us with 5 dice, and we need to roll 2 6s at a minimum to be successful. Alright, here we go. We need at least 2 6s. In this phase we need at least 1, because we do have a second chance with Bulkhead and Rivet, allowing us to add +2 to a rerolled combat die. Alright, we got 1 6. Not too bad. Now we get to re-roll a combat die and add 2 onto it. So as long as we get at least a 4, we are still successful. Oh, just enough. That 4, we can add 2 on to make that a 6, and we got the 2 6s that we needed. That was really close. After defeating Gorgon, retire 1 Freedom Squadron card of your choice that took part in the combat. At this point, I will retire my recruit out of the game, thanks to Gorgon. And we can look at the reward card. If this is the final control cube, we have done it. If not, the game will continue. It is not the control cube. The Age of Synthoids. The discovery of plans that will allow Professor Mortis to make synthoid copies of key members of Freedom Squadron halts Venom's plans of infiltration. Once per game, use this card to place any 1 card from the retirement pile into your discard pile. We will discard the Venom support, refill the training ground, and it's a vehicle. Well, that's a new one. Avalanche. Cost 5, 2 recruit points. Discard 1 Venom support vehicle, and if we're in Arctic zone, +2 to the combat strength. Very nice. That will definitely help because we still have 2 Arctic zones occupied. Discard my hand. Next time around we will have Sundown, a Commando, Selkie, Corporal Carnage, and Predator. Very solid lineup.